Good day, everyone. My name is David, and I am representing New Jersey ACAC today with this fantastic group of colleges and universities. A few things that I want to go over quickly before they get into their presentation. Just reminding everyone that all of these sessions will be recorded, so you can always go on to the newjerseyACAC.org/virtual-fair website to find the recordings. In addition, you can sign up for more of these college presentations also on that NJACAC.org website. In addition, today, your camera and your microphone are off. The panelists will not be able to hear or see you. And the way that you will be able to communicate with them will be by using the Q&A function. The chat feature is turned off. So if you would like to communicate with the panelists, please ask your questions in the Q&A anytime throughout the presentation, and they will be able to help you. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to the presenters for the day, and enjoy.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So first, we'd like to introduce ourselves for this session on international universities. I'm Todd St. Vrain, the North America Manager for the University of Melbourne in Australia.
Hi, I'm Kendall Hook. I am in New York City, and I am the Global Center representative for the Mid-Atlantic and the Southeast.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Gotting, and I am the North America representative for London Metropolitan University in the United Kingdom.
So first, what we're going to do is start sharing a screen here, and we're going to give you first an overview of international universities. And so again, these are our contact details. So today is focusing on examples from our universities from Australia, Ireland, and the UK. So after a presentation of just some of the common features of an international university, what the experience like, why you should do it, we're each then going to talk about our universities. So yes, keep your questions coming into the Q&A, and we'll probably address those as a group at the end. So now on to Kendall to start us.
All right. Well, first, when you're looking at international undergraduate degrees, it is good to note that we have very common subjects that you're used to seeing in the United States as well. So here you can see some general colleges across all of our regions, such as arts, humanities, politics is really popular, business, STEM, and of course, performing arts too. Overall, in Europe, Oceania, and other regions of the world, you are going to apply directly to a program. So what that means is there are typically few or no general education requirements as part of your program, which is often a part of your program in the United States. So if you want to be an engineer and you apply directly into engineering, you probably will never have to take another English class again. Or if you want to be an English major, you don't have to do maths again. However, even though you start a program directly, you're still going to have a little bit of flexibility. So it is possible to take courses outside of your major using elective credits. And then accelerated degrees. Typically, degrees range from 3 to 4 years, but like in the UK and Ireland, there's going to be a majority that are 3. For fees and finances, across all of our regions, the average cost of attendance for one academic year is approximately $38,000 per year. We do all have tuition scholarships that are available for international students, so I would recommend looking at different universities' websites to see what they have on offer. It is important to note that the 3 of our schools, as well as other international universities, can accept FAFSA or U.S. federal aid, as well as U.S. vet benefits. And I provided a sample of out-of-state costs here. So you can see that going abroad for your degree is a little more expensive than staying in-state for college, but more affordable than going out of state or to a private institution in the U.S. How to apply. So most European universities, Oceania, and other regions of the world, we do stress your academic record. So it's not as much your extracurriculars or your essays, but really it focuses on standardized test scores, your GPA, class ranking, etc. We don't have blanket admissions requirements. It's going to depend on the program that you want to apply to. So it is important to check each university's websites and the subjects you're interested in, because some departments may have higher admission standards than others, or some may actually request a personal statement or require an interview. But that really depends on the topic that you choose. There are several different ways to apply. In general, you can always apply through the university's website. There's also some institutions on the US Common App, so that's pretty easy to select the ones that you want there. And then lastly, the UK specifically, students apply through the UCAS application.
Okay, I think I am up. So I just wanted to give a brief overview to everybody about the concept of being a student from going to high school in New Jersey and thinking about going to do your full degree abroad. It's not necessarily as culturally common right now for a lot of students at American high schools to think, hey, I'm gonna go do my full undergraduate college experience overseas. The real popular model for US students right now tends to be going to a US institution and then doing a study abroad semester for maybe the fall or spring of your junior year. And so that's also a great model. All of us, have worked in different areas of study abroad or done it ourselves and are a big proponent of that if that ends up being the route you go. But we really like to spread awareness about the option of being able to go do your full degree, because like Kendall said, it's actually often a 3-year degree, so you can get your studies done sooner, and you really get to deep dive into the culture and be a resident there, so much more than you get in the experience of going on a short-term study abroad semester for just a couple months. And I know it might sound rather intimidating to go that far from home and go overseas, but if you were someone who was considering going out of state or even a plane ride away in the US, really going overseas is not as intimidating as it sounds. There's a lot of good flight options. There's big break periods. You can come home for long periods over the holidays and summer if you want to. And so we've all had a lot of experience domestically and abroad, and you could speak to us further about it. But it's a new kind of concept for you and your classmates to think about doing your full degree overseas. Next slide. And quickly, when you're thinking about where do I even start to look for international universities, it's really just like doing the college search in the US, you want to focus on geography and the campus environment. So you might say, hey, I'm open to going to different continents or places in the world, and there's search engines and sites that list all international universities. So maybe you can't decide between Australia and the UK or Ireland, but some people already know which country they're focused on, and you can really zoom in there. And then think about, do you want a rural environment, an urban environment? What program or what major degree are you looking for? They will not use the word major. It will normally be your course or your degree, but just make sure you search by the discipline that you're interested in, and really think in soul search about the campus size and the environment that you're seeing in your college experience. Next slide. And just so you know, you visit college campuses in the US and see all of the great facilities and things you can get involved with in the support services and orientations. That is true of international universities as well. We all have different customized pre-departure advising. In fact, the 3 of us work with any applicant from the United States who wants to apply to our university. We will walk you through it step by step from here until you get on the plane and touch down with our teams that we know really well at our home universities, helping you with the visa process, FAFSA and financial aid, anything that really comes up in that way. And then once you're there on the ground, you're part of this cohort of international students. So there will be a group of Americans, but you might be with students from all over the world, and there'll be special orientations and social events and activities. And it's just such a cool experience. So know that the kind of support resources that you would have on campus here in the United States, you're going to find overseas as well. Oh, again, this slide just kind of overviews that once you're an active student who's enrolled, there's the kind of support services you're looking for on campus, whether that be for mental health and well-being, careers, offices for internship placements and jobs, and they also normally have an international student office that can help you if you have questions on your visa while you're there, and loads of clubs and societies and organizations and sports to get involved with too.
Okay, so I'm now going to talk about some of the employability and things related to doing an international degree. So this comes from the Center for the Future of Work, talking about some of the critical skills that are really that employers are looking for today. And when you look at things, especially like cross-cultural competency and novel and adaptive thinking, making sense of things, well, these are all very much the skills that you are really going to develop when you go abroad. And I think just, you know, having that sense of adventure and building your confidence, being able to handle seeing things from a different perspective, those are all things that, you know, future employers are going to be looking for. Also, you know, just as there's going to be a lot of support services and all of the things that you would expect at an institution in the United States, things like internships, work integrated learning, you know, being mentoring programs, professional clubs, all of our universities are going to help you to develop these skills, also to help you in your future search as well. So while you're an international student overseas, you often have the ability to work part-time to help find, you know, support yourself. And a big question we also get is, well, you know, is my international degree going to be recognized back in the States by an employer or for graduate school? And the answer is yes. I would say the one caveat is that if you're thinking about medical school in the United States, you might want to do your research ahead about how they accept a foreign degree. Otherwise, I think it's actually a great asset. The other thing to know is that all of our countries, Australia, Ireland, and the UK, we all give the options for students to work in country, like say 2 years after graduation. So whether or not you want to come back to the US or stay in country, you've got options actually where you're going to begin your career. We should also mention that there's also the Working Holiday Visa program. So whether either before starting university or after, this is a visa that you can go and work in our countries and kind of tour around. So you've got lots of options in terms of employability. So that's that. And so what we're now going to do is we're going to get on and go into each of our individual universities. So I'm now going to share with you about the University of Melbourne. So let me stop share here and get back to this here. I think I'm supposed to, all right, 1 second, bear with me here. All right. Sorry for the delay here. Okay, I think what I need to do is get out of that. Sorry, we ran through all of this directory before. Okay, you know what? Maybe Kendall, would you like to go ahead and start about Ireland? Sorry about this. I just need to, what's going on with my screen about the other thing. So sorry for the confusion. First, we'll go to Ireland and then UK, and then I'll sort it out. Sorry about that. We can't hear you, Kendall.
That would help. Again, my name is Kendall Hook. I'm with the University College Dublin, which I believe I failed to mention at the very beginning, but we are located in Dublin, Ireland. So a little bit about UCD and why UCD. We were founded in 1854, so we are one of Ireland's oldest universities. We're we are in the top 1% of universities worldwide. So when you go to Ireland and come back with a degree from UCD, it's going to mean something in the United States. We are ranked #1 in Ireland by the US News World and Report. And we are ranked #1 in employability of all Ireland universities. We're only 3 miles south of the Dublin city center, so it's very easy to get back and forth between the thriving downtown scene and campus. We are the largest and most international university in Ireland with nearly 30,000 students. So for a comparison, we feel very much like a state school in the US. We have a comprehensive range of degree programs, A to Z, archaeology to zoology. You're going to find something that fits your academic goals. And we're also the largest urban campus in Europe. So as I mentioned, we're really close to downtown Dublin, but we are set in a more residential area. So of our 30,000 students, about 7,000 of them are international from 140 countries. So that means that we have the most international students in all of Ireland, and about 30% of our student population comes from overseas. As a comparison, US universities often only have 10% or fewer international students. So we have a wide variety of people who come from all over the world. Of that 30%, a majority of them do come from the United States. We have over 140 clubs and societies, as Megan mentioned earlier. Universities worldwide have student clubs and societies, so you're going to find something that really fits your unique personality, whether that's joining Harry Potter or joining the surfing club. Yes, there's some surfing in Ireland. It's a little bit colder, but it's there. You're going to find something that really suits you. Speaking of student clubs and organizations, the International Student Society is the most popular and largest on campus. So here's some examples of the types of activities we put on for US students to make them really feel at home. For academic degree programs, we have over 70 undergrad degree courses, and they range between 3 to 4 years depending on the subjects. So as you can see here, these are all of our colleges and our programs. There are specific focuses within those colleges. And I want to highlight in particular the Liberal Arts and Sciences program. That program is really for the student who's undecided. So within the colleges above, you typically start your program right away and knock it out. But if you're still undecided and you want to dabble in a few things, that Liberal Arts and Sciences program is really unique to UCD and allows you that flexibility to explore your first year. We are on the Common App, so I encourage you to apply that way or on our website. The Common App is definitely the most popular option for our US students, and it doesn't make a difference between the two which way you apply. Our applications actually opened today, and we have rolling admission until July 1st. If you want to apply for scholarships, I would recommend applying by December 1st. And lastly, you can apply to up to 4 programs. Lastly, the average cost of attendance for UCD is between $34,000 to $42,000 per year, including tuition. And as I mentioned earlier, we do accept FAFSA and US federal aid and US vet benefits. We have international student scholarships between 10 to 100% of tuition and fees. They are academic merit-based, and about 80% of our international students receive some sum of money. And that's a snapshot of the states that our students are coming from. So now I will turn it back over to Todd.
Great, thank you. I think I have sorted out my technical difficulties here. So let me just get into my PowerPoint presentation, and we're going to get back down under. So good day, everyone. I'm Todd from the University of Melbourne. And so welcome to UniMelb, or as we say in the local Indigenous language, NJACAC. So why would you come all the way to Australia to do your degree? Well, we're one of the leading universities in the world, proud to be ranked 26th in the world, and we're a large public research university. And I think what characterizes Melbourne is that it attracts great minds who really want to have an impact on the world. So take a further look if this is you. So you are coming to a university that is highly guarded at an international level in terms of an overall ranking. We have something like 40 disciplines that rank in the top 40 internationally, which I think means really having access to people at the forefront of their thinking and can really help shape your future. You're going to be a global citizen. Australia, what I love about it, is a very multicultural country of immigrants, and you're truly in East meets West. So we're very large. Over 50,000 students, 25,000 undergrad, and that's all Australian universities are quite large. So you're not going to be the only international student, but it's a great chance to make friends from around the world, get a different perspective, and makes for really good eating. We talked about employability. We rank 7th in the world for graduate employability. And as I said, in Australia, you do have the option to stay 2 years after graduation if you so desire. So our degrees are only 3 years, which in itself is a savings. And also the annual tuition, because of the strong US dollar compared to the Australian dollar, is just under $30,000. And we are going to have admissions just based on your academic achievement. So no personal statements, references, which is again similar to what we talked about in Europe. And you're doing all of this in Melbourne, a city 7 times voted the most livable city in the world. So it's a city of about 4 million people, very friendly. In terms of our academics, we have streamlined our degrees into just 8 degrees, but with lots of options within that. So our Find a Course portal is, we call it degrees courses, is a great place just for all of your interests, where you detail information about all of the majors, the entry requirements, tuition, and so forth. So we have a Bachelor of Agriculture. Arts means liberal arts, and I put here in bold some of the more popular majors, but certainly a lot of options. We have biomedicine, and we're right next to the biomedical precinct of about 40 research centers and teaching hospitals, where they're doing things like bioengineering, heat-resistant coral to save the Great Barrier Reef, and mapping the coronavirus. So lots of things going on there. We call commerce business, and so lots of options, especially with a strong international focus. And we also have design, whole school in fine arts and music, and very, very strong in the sciences, whether that's engineering and IT, the life sciences. Yes, we have marine biology, which Australia is known for. So if you're coming from a US diploma, it's going to vary depending on which degree that you do. But it's going to be SCT or ACT. We're currently not test optional. It's under review, an unweighted GPA, and we do require AP exams for prerequisites. If you don't meet the AP exams, you don't have those, you would have to submit a university level subject for assessment. If you're doing the IB, you would also have IB, but if you don't need to worry about AP and SAT if you've got the IB. And as we've mentioned, we all have great clubs and societies, sports, whether at the intervarsity level or just for fun, intramurals. And again, comparison of living and tuition costs is going to be the same or perhaps even less than what you might have here in the United States. Really high performing students are automatically going to be considered for an undergraduate scholarship. And again, as we've mentioned, you can also use student loans FAFSA from the United States. It's different down under. Our seasons are opposite, so are our semesters. Semester 1 starts in March, and semester 2 starts in July or August. So our application deadlines are a bit different. My advice would be just to apply when you're applying to US universities. It just means your start date would be a little bit different, and deferrals are pretty standard if you want to do like a little mini gap year. We have a program for high school students in July, so you could come check that out. And just briefly, we're in the heart of the city, a mixture of sandstone buildings, but also some very cutting edge modern facilities, labs, orientation, some fun, a car park that was in the Mad Max movie, all in the city of Melbourne, of a city known for street art, cafes, live music, sports, nature, and beautiful Australia. So please get in touch. I'm in San Francisco if you have any other details. So now we're going to zoom back on over to the other Europe, and Megan is going to come on and talk with us about her university. Megan, I think you might be on mute. I don't think we can hear you.
There we go. Sorry about that, everyone. All right, I am going to wrap up today with our third university, which is mine, which is London Metropolitan University. And we are located in the heart of central London in England, within the UK. And I think because we did the session here also with Kendall and she covered UCD and Dublin, I always like to point out to American students when I'm talking about some of the entry requirements or the application system for the UK, that covers the countries of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, but that does not cover Ireland itself. So Ireland is part of the EU and is part of Europe, and you'd be using euros if you were studying in Dublin with Kendall. But if you're going to the UK and went to Northern Ireland, you would be in the north part of the island. But for all intents and purposes, we are heading back across the water to the UK, or to England rather, to talk about London Metropolitan University, which is in England. So again, my name is Megan, and I am based within the United States, as all of us are, so that we can work with US applicants more easily. But we all go to our home campuses, know them well. And so right now I actually live in Denver, Colorado, but I grew up on the East Coast. I'm from Connecticut originally and went to University of Delaware. So the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast is really a region that I love. New Jersey is a state that I've spent a lot of time in, and I would love to help any of you guys who are interested in learning more about London Met. You can get in touch with me. I also studied and lived in London myself for about 7 years. So advising US students on the transition between the two countries is just one of my passions, and I'd love for you to get in touch, or if your parents had questions, I could do that as well. So as a quick overview to London Met, again, we are in the heart of central London. We have 2 campuses, and we actually have a much smaller student body than Todd and Kendall's schools that had, I believe, 50,000 students in Melbourne and 30,000 at UCD. We actually have 10,000 students, and within that student body, about 7,500 are undergraduates. So mostly undergraduate students. We represent over 147 nationalities within our student body, faculty, and staff, and are considered one of the most diverse universities in the UK. Over 65% of our students come from a minority or underrepresented background. We have a lot of first-generation students. It's really this welcoming, inclusive environment, and there's a place for everybody. So I always really enjoy going over for international student orientation and seeing all the students coming in from all the different countries. Like I said earlier, it seems intimidating sometimes to think your US counterparts might not be applying for their full college experience overseas, but the minute you touch on orientation, you realize there's peers from all over the world with you. An alumni that we're really proud of is the current mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. He actually attended London Met himself, and he's a big proponent in general for bringing international students to the city of London. London is always ranked #1 student city in the world if you kind of Google, and there's different ratings for this. So, you know, sometimes it might drop down to 2, but it's always way up there as a place that students from countries around the world flock to. And so as an international student there is loads of activities, discounts, events. Really, the sky's the limit with the theater you can go to, sporting events, music, and lots of programming for international students. This is just an aerial shot that I love from the roof of our Holloway Road campus, which is our business, IT, and sciences campus. And you can see all the way down to the Thames River, which is the river that runs all the way through London, and kind of the skyline of all the famous buildings that you'll get to know if London became home. So as a brief overview to our 2 campuses, as I said, our Holloway Road campus is the one that is based in North London, and a lot of students recognize it because it's right next to Emirates Stadium, which is the home of Arsenal Football Club, if you know British Premier League soccer. And so on game day, it gets quite rowdy when everybody's coming out and doing their chants and wearing their scarves. On this campus, we also have a £30 million super science center. It's called our Super Lab, and it's one of the largest teaching research facilities in all of Europe. And you can see that pictured here. We also have our library, our student gym that you would have a membership to. And the building at the top is called the Rocket, and that's where our student union is housed, where you can get involved with clubs and sports and societies. So the Holloway Road campus, again, has programs you can see listed below in business, IT, computing, robotics, the biomedical sciences, and a lot of the social sciences, international relations, psychology. And so I like to think of our two campuses as right brain and left brain. Our other campus is located in Allgate, which is in East London, but also very central. And it's kind of the fusion of all things of the past in London, with cobblestone streets and waves of immigration history that have all kind of influenced this neighborhood. And now it's quite a trendy hipster pop-up street art and markets area as well. And you can walk to the famous blue bridge, the Tower Bridge that you might have seen in postcards from this campus. But this is our arts campus. And so this houses our School of Art, Architecture, and Design. And if you're somebody interested in studying theater, fashion, film, being kind of a craftsman with furniture making, textiles, also some of the creative, liberal arts, creative writing, this would be your home and your campus. However, if you're a London Met student, you can use facilities on both campuses. So your courses might be taking place in one building, and you can go use the gym up on the other campus if you'd like to. I'm just gonna buzz through a few images of our campus so you can see our Science Center. There's our Learning Center. And here's some images of our classrooms for our media and communications and business programs. So again, I think people often think of Europe in things all being very old, and that's very true. The buildings are old, the streets are old, but also it's very new. A lot of gutted buildings with brand new modern facilities like this. So we've got a newsroom, we've got a lot of craftsman space for the programs in the arts, photography, studios. Theater is a very popular program with our US students as well, and there's really very few places in the world to get to dig into theater like London. So if you're interested in that, please do get in touch. Lots of different spaces around campus to grab food and hang out. So, and again, this is something you'll see at all international universities. They're going to have a version of this just like US campuses, and that's why all of us are here to encourage American students to consider that option. Very quickly, because I am taking quite a while, is our application process. We are on a rolling admission system, so you really can apply anytime during the year. But if you want to use that UCAS, which is like the common app in the UK, the deadline for that is January 15th. So you can apply to 5 universities in the UK on that application, but you must get that in for January 15th. Otherwise, you can apply directly through our website and there's no application fee. So a lot of students like to take that route because really they don't have to pay anything to be able to apply and study with us. And we also have a start date in January. So some students actually like that for the flexibility of graduating from high school and maybe taking some time off and starting up in the next calendar year. But our big academic intake each year starts in about late September, and that's true of most UK universities. They tend to start in late September rather than August like US universities. Like the other universities mentioned, we accept financial aid and FAFSA, US veterans benefits. We have international student scholarships. And we are going to look into test optional for this year. Right now, we were taking SAT, ACT, or AP scores, but we realize that's become challenging for some students. So if you want to apply and are not going to be taking exams, please let me know. And let's see. If you want to get a really cool virtual tour of our campus, I recommend that you just Google London Met Do Something You Love. It's a 90-second video put together by some of our students, and it's so fun and really gives you a snapshot of our campus. So London Met Do Something You Love. You can also follow London Met in the USA for US applicants on Facebook and Instagram at London Met Uni USA. And I am the person behind that, so you can get in touch with me and let me know how you like my posts. So again, I am based here in the US. I'm actually moving back to the East Coast later in the year. So if you're a sophomore or a junior, I may be revisiting your school in future, and I would love to get in touch and talk to you more about studying in London or the UK. So take down either of our contact details because we can always connect you with any of us, whether you're interested in the UK, Ireland, or Australia. Okay.
Okay, maybe we can bring Kendall back on. So please, if you do have any questions, now is the time to put them into the Q&A here, and we would do that. Okay, so one of the questions is, do you look at individual grades for each courses, or focus mainly over on the GPA? So for Australia, it's just an unweighted GPA, and we don't really look at the specific subjects or courses that you're taking. What's it like in Ireland and the UK?
For Ireland and the UCD, we do look at the overall unweighted GPA. That is first and foremost, but there are some programs that might require additional grades, and we look more specifically at them. So some STEM subjects, they may require, just for example, a grade of B or better in a lab science, for example. So that's a situation where we may look at a specific grade, but typically it's your overall GPA.
Yeah, same for London Met and my familiarity with other UK universities. Normally it is your overall GPA, but in the UK you do normally submit a personal statement. So if you had a bad semester or fell behind, but maybe you've got really strong grades in your field of study that you're focusing on, you could mention that in your personal statement. But we do look at overall GPA, and then course by course, as I think we mentioned in different presentations. Some of them might have a supplement, like I know our students applying for architecture or for illustration might submit a creative portfolio that's kind of digitally uploaded, or our theater students might do a Skype Zoom interview. So sometimes there's other components, and that's true of GPA essentially, is that sometimes they're gonna look more specifically at your grades focused on certain fields, and sometimes they're just gonna look at the overall, your overall unweighted GPA.
Okay, we also have a question talking about what are the advantages and disadvantages of doing an international degree if you want to come back and go to law school here in the United States. So a couple things on this. So I think one of the challenges is that in a lot of our countries, our degrees are only 3 years. So you would probably need to do your homework to make sure that the US law school would be accepting the 3-year degree. Currently, we do have one of our Melbourne Law School students trying to get into US law schools, and we're advocating that there's a consistent policy, that currently it's very piecemeal about whether or not that degree is accepted. Also to say that in terms of the admissions, obviously they're going to be looking at your references and and I think the caliber of the university that you go to. So it could also be help you to stand out in terms of that you're someone who's doing different, and really draw upon your international experience that you would bring towards coming to law school. How about in UK and Ireland for law schools?
I would definitely ditto everything you just said, Todd. But something I want to highlight specifically for UCD is that we do have undergraduate law programs as well. They are competitive, but you can use that as a stepping stone to apply to law school after graduation. We even have an option to be able to practice law back in the States after your 3-year degree. You may have to jump through some hoops in terms of studying a little bit extra for the bar, and looking at the states that you might want to practice in to make sure that they accept a degree internationally, but that's possible too. But all in all, I would recommend checking the law schools you're interested in and what they require, and looking at the degrees abroad to make sure that you would cover the prerequisites that you would need for the law graduate program. But I would say that's the same in the US too. No matter where you go, you should check to see if your requirements for your major align with what prerequisites you need for law school.
Yeah, and I would echo what both of them said for the UK, and it will range institution by institution. So it's always just really good if you are focused on a certain school to get in touch with them and talk to them about their programs. Like Kendall said, we also offer undergrad law degrees, so it is a really good stepping stone, perhaps to then go on to graduate school back in the States for law. Sometimes when older students contact me about wanting to study law at a higher level, it's not always advisable because it could be very hard to then go back and translate that to New Jersey and take the New Jersey bar. But I think if you're an undergrad or you're going into your undergrad degree and you're really interested in law, particularly maybe international law and relations and how that kind of goes globally beyond just the United States, it could be a really cool option and might be looked upon favorably for some law school applications. So it's going to be kind of case by case, but it's definitely a really cool option to explore rather than one that is off the table, I would say.
I'll also just add that, yeah, in Australia, there are some Australian universities that do have law as an undergraduate degree. We don't at Melbourne, it's only at the JD. If you are thinking about doing an foreign law degree, you should definitely check out LSAC, LSAC. They have a bar admissions guide. Your bar exam requirements will vary from state to state. New Jersey, for example, does not recognize a foreign law degree, but other states like New York, you can start practicing, admissions with a foreign law degree, and other states like California, you have to do like an LLM. That's enough about law. I think we've got time for one more question. I think something else has come in. I think that's it. So maybe one quick question I know we get is about accommodation. Let's start with Europe. What's accommodation like at your universities? What are the options?
I would say, again, this is going to range university by university, but as a kind of general overview, I would say more times than not in the UK, something that students really like is that they're single bedrooms rather than shared dorm rooms. And I think this might be true of a lot of your schools. In fact, as a fun fact, I did my study abroad at University of Melbourne, where Todd represents, and I lived in one of these single dorm rooms, and it was great. It was the first time in my college experience that I got my own bedroom and got to shut the doors. That was very nice for me. It tends to be that you might have your own single bedroom space, and then you have a shared like living room, kitchen, bathroom space. And some universities have their own on-campus housing, and then others, for instance, my university being located in central London, right in the heart of the city, real estate's at a premium. So a lot of London universities actually share accommodation and networks with kind of third-party management. So you're living in a student accommodation, but your roommates or the people on your floor might be studying at Regent's University London or King's College London, and also at London Metropolitan University. But I believe you guys both have on-campus options at your school, correct?
Yeah, UCD has on-campus options, and we venture to guarantee all of our first-year international students housing on campus. 3,000 students right now live on campus every year, about half international, half Irish students, and they are suite style as well. So you have your own bedroom, but you share common facilities like kitchen and dining and bathrooms with a small group of students, typically 3 to 4. So 3,000 students are on campus, so there's always something happening. And in the next couple of years, that will increase to 6,000. So most of the time, international students, well, nearly all the time, international first-year students will live on campus, and then it's pretty common for second and third, possibly fourth-year students to live off campus. Once they've found people that they're friends with, that's when they organize off-campus living after first year.
And so I'll just briefly share that once again, it's different down under. So the residential halls, the dorms on campus, we call them colleges just to confuse you, and those offer meal plans. We also have student apartment, either owned by the university or third-party providers that Megan said could be students from a variety of universities together. So we can guarantee housing, and some of the Australian universities too. But yes, it is also true in Australia that regardless of all student housing is a single room. So that's great. So I think we're just about out of time. So we really want to thank everyone for looking into international universities. Please get in contact with each of us. We can tell about our own universities, our countries. And also, if you decide that going abroad for your whole degree is not part of for you, we really encourage you to have an international experience as part of your university. You could come visit us as part of a semester abroad or summer study.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Just a few quick things. When you close out of the session today, there will be a quick survey that pops up on your screen. Please go ahead and answer that. And then also just a reminder to sign up for more sessions. This is going to be going on for about another week or so. So please go ahead and sign up for more sessions. And then also just a reminder that all the sessions have been recorded, and you can find them on the NJACAC.org/virtual fair website. With that said, On behalf of NJACAC, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us and have a wonderful day.